really folks don't leave the industry. Typically, what I've noticed, people come into the industry, but they never seem to leave. So if, a guy gets a new job, girl gets a new job, usually it's pretty tight-knit community around the shooting sports industry. And
worked for this company, now I'm working for this rep group, then I'm working for this.
Yeah, they just kind of move around. They don't really, they don't really venture out. And I think that's because a lot of the reason is because, man, we're all so friendly here. Right?
That's it.
All right. So we are live from the NASGW show here talking with Air Venturi's Scott. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
You're doing good? Okay. Now, the show floor, you're at the NASGW. What's your main goal while you're at NASGW?
We're relatively new. This is only the second time we've been here. Honestly, quite simply, it's just to meet new customers. I mean, if we can get a couple new distributors we have some conversations with and can move forward with, that's a good focus.
Oh, that's a great thing. Give us a rundown of who Air Venturi is and how long you guys have been around. I know you just mentioned that you've been with the company for about 11 years, which seems not that long, but actually nowadays, 11 years is a long time to be with a company.
Yeah, no, the whole company has been around for, a little over 20 years. And Air Venturi has been kind of a part of it that's grown up in the last decade or so. I think we may have actually officially made it a real company like in 2011, if I remember correctly. Prior to that, it was more of like a private label brand that we used.
Okay. Well, this honestly, this whole day, and I talked to you briefly this morning. I've been looking forward to this hour and this segment for a long time, not because it's happy hour right across the hall from us and there's the promise of a little beverage at the end of it, but because we get to talk about, the BB guns, the air guns, and a new crossbow that's out that really actually kind of blew my mind. But let's start talking about what we've got, the Dust Devil BBs and the Shatter Shot. Give us just what are we looking at, because these honestly look like real firearms. I mean, they're real, but they're not what people think.
All right, well, starting with the Dust Devils. So these have actually been out for a little while. They're essentially a BB replacement. So pretty much any BB gun, you can use these instead of steel BBs.
Okay.
And the reason you might want to do that is because they are frangible.
Yes.
So you shoot them against a hard object, and instead of ricocheting back, like the old you'll shoot your eye out, they will actually crack against the target or whatever.
If Ralphie had these, he wouldn't have broke his glasses. He'd have been fine.
Wouldn't have been much of a movie, though,
but he wouldn't have had to lie. He lied to his mom. Let's not forget about that.
He did get into a lot of trouble.
He's a little punk, all right? But, they break up, and we were actually shooting these. I think you guys remember we were shooting these in our office at just a steel plate, and you go over and look. There's nothing on the ground. They're frangible. It's just dust.
Yeah, the harder the surface, the better. Because they're just much more likely to turn to dust at that point. So they're made, actually, we make them in Cleveland. So they're made in the USA, non-toxic, non-lead. And
they can't be that expensive.
No, they're more expensive than regular BBs, but we feel like they bring a lot that regular BBs don't.
Right.
So that box right there, typical retail right now is $9.99.
That's not a lot.
But it's not a king's ransom by any means.
No, let's just roll with. You're going to want these for sure.
And most people, as soon as you hear that, I talked to a mom who's, considering letting her child have a BB gun. The minute they hear it doesn't ricochet or is much less likely to ricochet, it immediately is fine.
Well, you can't replace, it's money or safety. It doesn't matter how much. You want their kid to be safe. You want you to be safe. So what's a few extra bucks? Nothing.
Well, and BBs have been the same for about a century. I did look it up. About a century is when BBs started, so hasn't been a whole lot of different innovation in that category. So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about it. Is just it's a category that really needed some life into it. In my opinion,
a little life into it, right?
Right.
All right, the Shatter Shot.
Yeah, and actually, this is really the first time we're really showing it. These didn't exist 2 weeks ago, and now they do. We've been working on them for a while, so it's essentially the slingshot version of the Dust Devil.
Oh, no way.
So exciting for me because any major retailer you go into, if they have sporting goods, they've got slingshots, they got slingshot ammo. So it's another thing that has pretty much been unchanged for a very long time. So another innovation.
And it's 40 grains, 3/8 inch diameter. What are you guys going to use it? I mean, just target practice and just plinking around? I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's actually it should be suitable for hunting too. So if someone anything someone does uses a slingshot for is suitable for. So.
That's cool. That's a cool idea. I mean, you guys are expanding what used to be old into something new.
So we're trying to do anyway.
So now getting into the BB stuff.
All right.
You know, you bring out these, and guys are going to look at these and go, "That's an XDM, and that's a 1911." Yes, but man, they feel so much like it. You pick it up, and then you say, "Yeah, that is an XDM. It feels exactly like an XDM." But what's going on? What's different?
I mean, honestly, the main difference is just that it's a steel BB gun powered by CO2.
That's it.
But honestly, I mean, I took this over to the Springfield booth at a show before this, and we had them next to each other, and they look. I mean, they
feel.
They look and feel. Like very similar.
So guys looking at, instead of maybe buying a blue gun or anything like that, now they can go and they can get something that actually fires a projectile, and they can actually practice. In their garage.
In their holster, too.
Yeah.
Actually, we've tested it, and it should work in the XDM
That's
holster.
actually even more beneficial than anything else, I think.
Absolutely.
Because
for training, absolutely.
Because it's going to be a lot safer. If you have especially a holster that you're not comfortable with, if you're not, 100% proficient at, and a lot of ranges will not let you draw from a holster. This way, you can do it right at your house and be completely safe, and you're still going to hit those targets.
Yeah, I mean, we of course always want people to treat these just like firearms because
Absolutely.
it shoots projectiles. But yeah, I mean, I've talked to CCW instructors who started incorporating them just because they're getting people used to handling firearms. Well, now they can start them with a BB gun, something that's even safer still,
Right.
Nothing live, and then kind of work towards firearms. So it's something. It's a nice supplement to
Oh
firearms.
yeah, and the 1911, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm going, my gosh, man, that looks. I mean, exactly, and it still even feels like a Springfield 1911.
Yes, it does.
I mean, so.
See the grip safety works. I mean,
Yeah.
down to that grip
Everything.
safety and everything. Yeah.
Everything. I don't know if you guys. I wish you guys could have like what feel-o-vision. Can you get that? But the feel of it is amazing. It's outstanding. You guys have done a really good job on this. Everything functions exactly the same. You even got the thumb safety over here. I mean, it's done right. How many feet per second?
It's typical for CO2 pistols, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 350, depending on depending on whether or not you're using our Dust Devils, which are a little bit faster.
They are
lighter.
faster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just a hair, like 10%ish.
All right. So if you are a Springfield fan, you're going to actually really enjoy what I'm about to break out right now. And I always think of like Steve Horseman, like he's like the guy on this platform, but you guys have now this little guy.
Uh-huh.
All right, give us the rundown.
It is a licensed Springfield Armory M1 carbine. In its present form, it is a faux wood stock, but we actually have an option for a wood stock too, so we can actually swap a real wood stock on. And at that point, it's an M1 carbine. At that point.
At that point it is. But what you guys are looking at is so this isn't wood. This is a synthetic.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like the real thing, and honestly, it's pretty light. So, starting kids out at shooting iron sights and getting them used to that sight picture, I think this is a great way to do it. And even with, the XDM pistols or the 1911, to get them used to a platform, that's one thing that I notice, when taking my kid out, is that, it's hard to do a lot of that on the range type stuff. And I don't know, maybe you guys have had different results or anything like that. But when you take someone out to a range, you're always worried about their safety first, and you want them to be successful. And I think starting them out with something like this, where they can get that sight picture, and especially if you're starting them out with a pistol or new shooters, that they get that sight picture, they're comfortable with it, and these things have great triggers.
Yeah.
So they can get used to that feel and that sight picture, and it's just more comfortable for them in the end.
And I mean, the last thing you want to do is scare somebody off in their first experience too. So air guns are nice because they don't have the firepower behind them. They're not as crazy with the recoil. I mean, they've got blowback action, but it's not.
Right.
It's a nice way to ease somebody into shooting.
Right.
Period. So.
Yeah, which is great. And The one that really blew my mind, and I'm going to have him get it. Like, we keep upping our game here. We started out the Dust Devils, the XDMs. We've got the M1 carbine. But now we're going to switch directions a little bit. Scott stepped off to grab it. And I looked at it, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how are you going to mess with this thing? And this is, okay, the Onyx.
The Onyx, yes.
Okay.
Steamboat Onyx. We're having this will be under our Seneca line is our hunting line. We're calling this line sen-x, so sen-x crossbows.
Sen-x
Yes.
crossbows. And, you know, at first glance, you see, you know, this big air tank, or this, it's not a big air tank, but your limbs are collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
And you showed me how, you know, you can extend the limbs and you can cock it. And so I'm going to have you go through all that.
All right.
Because you have to see it to understand what's going on. So I'm going to let you walk us through this thing.
All right.
All right, go for it.
So first benefit is you have the ability to collapse your limbs, which obviously makes it a little bit easier to transport, carry around.
Right, it's real compact. So
right.
if you need to pack it away or anything like that, you're
Absolutely.
traveling,
And you can
not going to
see
take up a lot of room.
Because of that, there's no tension on the strings, so that opens up the possibility
Right.
of changing strings, which I'm understanding is not something you normally be able to do on a crossbow unless you take it to a shop.
Fact. It is a fact.
Thank you for backing me up on that one.
Yes. And it's actually frustrating because a lot of times bow shops aren't open. You know, I mean,
Right.
especially during hunting
Especially
season.
when you figure out you need to have
Yeah.
it done, then all of a sudden.
Which is always during hunting season. Every time you need something done to your bow, it's during hunting season, and most archery guys are in the stand. You know,
Like,
okay.
So you say I just pop the pins out,
Yep.
put them on, pop
Here,
it back in.
I'm gonna move this one
some
so
more
you
other
guys
gear.
can see what's going on. Oh, we'll get back to all that goodness. So what you've done is you've extended them by taking these pins out.
Yep.
And they're locked in there with a ball bearing.
Yep. Just a
Right.
simple ball and detent.
Yeah. So a ball detent.
Pop out, pop back in.
And so this is kind of it
Yep.
in a nutshell.
Basically.
Real loose string.
Loose
So,
string. So you see
how do you
there's,
cock
there's
it?
no tension. So, I mean, you start essentially how you would, except for obviously there's not a whole lot of tension on that. So I
Right.
was able just to pull it straight back like that.
And I think that's what's nice about this right now, up to this point, is that you don't have to put it on the ground. You don't have to have a cocking device. You don't have to have your string where you're pulling it. You're extending these, putting
Right.
pressure on your limbs. So you could actually walk in the woods like this
Yeah,
completely
at this point,
safe.
you could have a bolt resting in it, and I mean, it's got very little tension on it. So
Okay.
even if the trigger were tripped
So
at
if
that
you-
point, it would the bolt might fall on the ground or something. But there's
Right.
really, like I said, there's really very little tension on it.
Okay. All right. Now, okay. Engage the cool thing.
All
Go.
right. So because of the high pressure air system, it drives these pistons, and there's a button.
You're going to want to get in on
You
this.
see the button underneath there, but you just push the button.
Now watch this. Oh, look at that.
Now it's cocked.
Now it's cocked. All right. Y'all saw that, right? Now, okay, now watch it go out. Like, okay,
So
you're done hunting.
Done hunting. Unfortunately, didn't find a game. So instead of having to fire your bolt into the ground or into a target, you
Right.
just pull the plunger back.
And nothing's going on up here.
Nope.
See, I told you it was cool. I was telling these guys earlier today, I was like, oh, Scott's bringing by something really cool. Didn't I? Michael's back there shaking his, yeah. Yeah. But what I think is cool about this is it's actually a safer way to crossbow hunt because accidents happen and everything else. We know that. But to have something pressurized like this that you don't have to fire it to make it safe.
Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. But we were talking about how many shots you would get per tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were how much is that?
A tank on this size, this is our 13 cubic inch tank. You get about 3 cycles out of it.
Right.
Maybe a fourth, but 3 for sure, full
Yeah.
ones. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about having air. So if you have a way to fill this, which we sell compressors and pumps.
And Picatinny rail, you can put an optic
Yep.
on there. Now, do you find has the research been done, and you guys fired this obviously a ton? Does the air tank position right there impede your, hold on the bolt or anything, or on the crossbow or anything like that?
I mean, I'm not a skilled crossbow person. I mean, I'm actually this is a new category.
Yeah, this
for
is
me.
brand new for you guys.
So I don't find it particularly cumbersome to have the tank here. but others have said that they don't like having the extra gear.
Right.
So you can actually, I'm standing on my own cord here.
Uh-oh.
You can actually basically just pop those screws out and flip this around, so then it's forward, so then it's completely clear back here, so you can actually swap it around.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking through this as I'm sitting here watching it go down. I think that's what you guys are probably going to be asking is, well, it's kind of, it's kind of bulky there, but actually if you did turn it around, I mean, you're not going to hit anything with your and you've got a good brace there, so you're not going to hit the string on the tank.
Right.
Okay. All right. I know you've got a question. Oh, how much? Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what that international sign.
Yeah, I've got that down.
So the basic package, like we're looking at here with the tank, is going to retail around $15.49.
Okay, which is really kind of like standard in today's crossbows. I mean, that's actually pretty accurate.
There's been quite a few companies who've come out with some high-end stuff.
Right.
So 1500 is not that crazy anymore.
No, it's not. Actually,
especially with something you don't
and
have to.
It's collapsible, right? You can collapse this.
This is just, it's got a standard AR stock on it, so you can actually swap that out if you want a different one.
Okay.
Same thing with the grip.
Same thing with the grip. Okay, you got to do it again. I want to see it work again. Honestly, like I know I'm wasting the air in the tank, but I don't care. It's cool.
You got a compressor at the booth. No
so
problem.
let's.
Go ahead.
Did you get a good shot, Jace? Did you get a good shot of that mechanism down there?
I can do it upside.
Yeah,
way.
do it like that. So you press it in, right?
Just push it in.
Just push it in to activate it. What are the limbs made out of?
I think these ones are aluminum. I'm not
aluminum.
100%. I know we're working on some. I know the manufacturer's working on some other ones. So
Okay.
don't quote me on that.
Right.
We've been talking materials a lot.
All right, and then let's go ahead and make it safe.
Safer to say they're typical crossbow limbs.
Right.
Say that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, so you got the air built up in these tanks, and then you just let it out. It's just like a hydraulic, just letting it down, and then it's safe. See, this is the kind of cool stuff you see around here.
We've gotten a good response. Like I said, this is really new. This is the first.
Yeah.
This is the first big show we've taken it to. But I mean, anybody I've introduced it to, that's usually they're like.
How many feet per second?
It's a typical hunting crossbow. So this one's like 330.
Okay.
The pistons are capable of moving stronger limbs. So there's definitely some possibilities for more power in the future.
Okay.
At this point, though, we just got a nice standard hunting crossbow that.
And you've got a very standard safety on here. You still have your safety. This isn't the only safety mechanism just by putting it like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's good innovation right there. I don't know where you guys found it, but you guys need to keep doing it. But anyway, that's Air Venturi, guys. Keep hanging with us because we got some more good stuff throughout the week, and we've got a good one coming up. If you guys like long-range muzzle loading, you guys are going to like what's next.